Jess. Oh, there we go. We're back to life here. Good morning, church. How's everybody today? Good morning. Well, this week went to a dumpster fire real quick, didn't it? Man, I tell you, I didn't know that the emotions of millions would be exposed this week. I didn't know everything that I know today. So last night I decided to change a few things, and I texted Cindy my verses at 1:45 a.m. Because I think some things are important that we need to cover as a church, as Christians. One of those is finding my notes in one of this big old book. Tim's going to be proud of me that I actually wrote quite a bit. So everyone's week on the forgiveness. Did anybody get an opportunity to forgive this week? Let's talk about that. Anybody in your life have any opportunity to forgive this week? Every one of you. Every one of you should be like, I did. Not just with the Kirk family, not just with the school shootings, but with the traffic. Gosh, doggone it. Maybe those of you that still have jobs, coworkers. Anybody say anything mean, hurtful, frustrating? What about spouse? Anybody say anything rough this week? Jeff didn't. His wife's always nice. Appreciate that, Lonnie. Jeff, you're a good man. So, need to take a second. We need to take a second, and we're going to pray for the Kirk family. We're going to pray for the ones at the school because it needs to end. And I feel like in our Christian lives, there's an uptick, and we're getting stronger, and we're starting to move because God's at work. And when God's at work, things change. When God was at work for 6 days, what happened in Genesis? Everything. Everything. What can happen in the next 6 days with God at work in your life? What can change? What can grow? What can be healed? Everything. There's nothing that He cannot touch. So, I want to ask you a question, and if you answer honestly, I want you to raise your hand. Anybody feel frustration this week? Anybody at all feel frustration this week? Okay. All right, keep that up. Anybody feel disappointment this week? Oh. A little glass of water. Man. Felt disappointed. Keep it up. Brokenness. Anybody experience any brokenness this week? Yeah. Lonely. Were you lonely this week? AJ. Dad was working yesterday. He didn't get the full time of daddy time yesterday. Appreciate your honesty. Fear. Anybody experience any fear this week? Because I talked to some people and they genuinely told me that they were scared. They were scared. They're scared for their children to go to school. They're scared to go to church. They're scared to go to Walmart. They're scared. Evil thoughts. Me. Because I wanted revenge. Did. I wanted some revenge this week. Plotting. Rage. Loss of control. Anger. Now, if you raised your hand for any of those, this chart, you're excluded if you want to be. I'm not going to ask you to do any hurdles this morning, okay? But if you raised your hand to any of those this week, I need you to come up here and grab one of these droppers, and I need you to put it in that cup. Come on. Everybody. Grab a dropper, put it in this cup. I'll hold the cup up here. I got 4 colors. It doesn't matter. Grab one. I know. At least you get to move and not be frozen this morning. Here, drop one in. There you go. You're fine. Just put it in. That's fine. Doesn't matter. Pass it on. It doesn't need the lid on to pass it on. Just be careful. We just had our carpet cleaned. It's good. Yeah. If you answered yes to any of those, it comes in. It comes in this week. Get a little more than that, it's fine. Here. Man, some of y'all's droppers turn into squirts. Some of y'all got some real emotions going on. Some of y'all raise your hands to all of them. Put one more in there for Georgia. Take that back. That's all right. There's more. Okay. Oh, careful. Good. All right. If you have one of these droppers and you're the last, just toss it in the trash, please. Miss Cindy, I need that. I need you. Did you put it in? Just squeeze it, brother. There you go. Uh-huh. All right, he's good. All right. If you guys would just throw those droppers away. Garrett, I'm going to need you to come up here and drink. I'm just kidding.
He literally said, if he's doing that again, I'm leaving.
Silence her. It's your first year. Things are forgivable. All right. What does that pitcher of water represent? Yeah. Lostness. Anger. What color is it? What color was it? It was, wasn't it? It was. And just through a few short questions, me asking you where you're at, all of a sudden we turn this pitcher of water into something not so desirable, huh? Things change quick. Things change so fast. Cindy, grab Matthew 5, 43, 45 for us right up here, please. You have heard that it said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. What did he just say? You've heard that it said to love your neighbor and to hate your enemy, because that's what the world's going to tell you. That's what the world's going to tell you that is acceptable. But what Jesus say here? But I tell you to love who? And pray for those who persecute you. If I had more eyedroppers, I'd have you put more in there. Because there's nothing that God can't fix in your life. I promise you. Okay? So we're going to open up with a word of prayer. God, we just thank you. God, we thank you for spending time with us, God. And in our loneliness, God, our anger, our frustrations, God, our aloneness. God, I pray for the Kirk family. God, the aloneness, God, of a wife that just doesn't know. Things change, God, that you have just sat with her and brought her peace, God, that those young children, God, that you would just provide every need necessary, God, for the Kirk family. God, for the hurting in the community, for the witnesses of horrific events, God, I pray that you just bring peace in their lives as well. God, for the ones that were in attendance that just weren't physically there, but were emotionally there, God, that want revenge, God, I pray that you just pull them apart and you just sit with them and you spend time with them today, God, and that you spend time with them this week and that you just show that your way is better. God, we sing songs all the time that your way is better, God, and I pray that that just becomes a reality. God, that your way is better. And God, as we're going to talk this morning about how we're going to move and how we're going to react and how we're going to move forward, God, that we just start to move with courage, God, whether it's at gas stations or is at our schools or in our places of work. God, and we just thank you. In your name, pray, amen. So, anybody ever heard of Iconium? Little town, somewhere around Turkey. Anybody ever been there? Great place to hunt elk. I'm not putting the idea in his head. I won't do that. I will not do that to him or you. Iconium. It's right by the ancient city of Anatolia, a Roman province of Galatia, modern day Turkey. Okay, that's where we're going. Iconium had been under the rule of the Hittites, Persians, the Lydians, the Romans. So this place had seen a lot of change in this town throughout the course of 1,000 years. A lot of change. A lot of different cultures. A lot of things happening there. You ever been in some place that the culture was just different than what you were used to? Whew, things are different. Go talk to somebody on the other side of the aisle and try and have a godly conversation, or go talk to somebody on the other side of the aisle and have a talk about, man, I just love shooting my guns, and things are different. Talk about your faith. Talk about whatever, how you raise your children. Things are different. Okay? So Paul and Barnabas, they got buddies, kind of like Derek and Jeff would just go off. Paul and Barnabas, they team up, and they're starting to share the gospel. We're in the book of Acts. We're going to go into 1 through 7. We're going to find out what Paul and Barnabas did. So at Iconium, the town right there in Turkey, Paul and Barnabas went as usual into the Jewish synagogues. There they spoke so effectively that a great number of Jews and Greeks, what happened? Somebody read that B word, Chess. What happened? They started to believe. Why? Because they started to live their convictions. They started to live their faith. They started to say, man, I tell you what, you can be healed and you can have peace. I'm telling you, Christ is real. And he'll come in your life and he'll change your life forever. And they started to believe. But the Jews who refused to believe, it stirred up. You seen anything on Facebook this week that stirred up some truth? Anywhere? Absolutely. But the Jews refused to believe, it stirred up the other Gentiles and poisoned their minds against them. That ever happen? You ever have a feud with a neighbor? Something stirs. Peace can't coexist. Right? So Paul and Barnabas spent considerable time there, getting to know people, loving people, helping them, speaking boldly for God, who confirmed the message of his grace by enabling them to perform signs and wonders. The people of the city were divided. All of a sudden, God's love starts to come in, and you're starting to see division. And is it not just divided down the street? No, it's divided in households. It's divided against husband and wife, and it's divided against children, against fathers, because all of a sudden God's peace starts to come in and says, you know what, you don't need to hate anymore, you can start to forgive. People were divided. Some sided with the Jews, others with the apostles. There was a plot afoot. Anybody seen anything? Among both Gentiles and Jews, together with their leaders, among the Jews and Gentiles, together with their leaders, to mistreat them and stone them. So what did they say? You know what? Can't handle all this loving talk. We can't handle you people getting together. You can't handle you people coming and changing our culture. We'll just stone them. Things are back to normal. Pressure's off. No problem. Send a few shots downrange, it's over. But Paul and Barnabas found out about it. They fled to Lycaonian cities of Lystra and Derbe and to the surrounding country, where they continued to what? Man, you won't throw rocks at me? We're just going to come down a little bit of southeast, make a little detour, and we're not going to stop, because what we know we have is going to change your life, because I've been called. And if you've accepted Christ today, you've been called. And you look at me and you say, Derek, I can't do what you do. I can't speak like you can. You can't, or you won't. They continue to preach the gospel. Let's keep going. All right. So, They're in a new town. New set of rules, right? Maybe. They're not stopping. There's an uptick. And as Christians, I hope you feel something stirring inside of you. I hope you feel something stirring so strong that you can't quit, that you can't stop. It's kind of like being a newlywed and your wife bringing out the best macaroni cheese that you've ever had because you're hungry, because you've been just doing honeydews till you just can't do no more, and you just keep eating it. It's just that good. That was for you, Garrett. It's that good. Things are going to start moving. Let's look at what happened here. So they're going to go to the next town southeast. In Lystra, there sat a man who was lame. He had been that way from birth and never walked. He listened to Paul as he was speaking. Paul looked directly at him, saw that he had the faith to be healed, called him up, stand up, get on your feet. And that man jumped up and began to walk. What an amazing thing. What an amazing thing. From we're going to kill you to now we're going to just keep sharing the gospel and God's going to keep revealing himself. How many of you guys have been touched through this church? Somewhere or another. We got time. You can raise your hand. You can raise your hand about God's goodness, amen? You can raise your hand about how your life has been changed because somebody grabbed you, invited you to church from wherever. You started to come and you started to change. When the crowd saw that what Paul had done, they shouted in the Lycaonian language, "The gods have come down in human form. Zeus himself is here." Huh. No, not really. Barnabas, they called Zeus. And then Paul, they call Hermes because he was the chief speaker. So now things are starting to get confused again. We've got all these different cultures in this town. We just had a dude that just had crazy faith that's like, you know what? I think I want to walk. And I think I believe what you guys are telling me about this Jesus guy. And in fact, I do believe that. And what started to happen? What started to happen? From not being able to walk, what started to happen? God started to show up. And he started to put a little more in. All right? Just started to put a little bit of Jesus in your diet, and all of a sudden, it's full. It's full. It's black. But at least your cup's starting to fill up. Your cup's starting to fill up. Okay? Right? The priest, called Hermes because he was the chief secret. The priest of the Zeus, whose temple was just outside of the city, this guy was a priest, and he worshiped this god. And what happened? He brought bulls and wreaths to the city gates because they were going to offer sacrifices. They're going to offer sacrifices to these two guys. Is that what they came for? Is that what they came for, to have sacrifices brought to you? When you do good things, do you take those sacrifices? No, man. Look, I'm telling you, God just sent me just to encourage you. I don't need anything. Man, I just know that I was sent here to share the gospel with you, to help you, to love you, to encourage you. I don't need those things, man. It's not what we're about, right? Gosh dang, these guys. Then some who, Garrett? That was a good answer. The Jews came from Antioch. When things are going good, the professionals show up. Mix everything up again. Confuse things again. Here we go. The Jews came from Antioch and Iconium, and they started to win the crowd over. Who knows what with? Who knows what with money, with things, with fine talk, with history and cultural teachings. You ever had a conversation with somebody that just was absolutely smarter than you? What happened? What happened to Paul now? They stoned him. It's just won the crowd over, and they just started grabbing these stones, and they just started to pound on Paul with stones. Why? Because he didn't want to take the blessings of the pagans. He said, no, man, I ain't about that. I ain't about that. And they started to kill him, right? They started stoning him. And they drug him outside of the city. I got a little bit of water left. Let's just see what happens. Just see what happens. So they drug him outside the city thinking he was dead. Man, I'm telling you, there's an uptick in this world. And there's an uptick in your community. And it's fixing to start shining bright. Because then what happened? So now the disciples start to gather around him. Their dude has been drugged outside of the city. He's bloodied. He's beaten. You ever been hit in the face with a boulder? Can you imagine? You think it's clean? Anybody ever been covered in blood? It's sticky. It's dried and it cracks when it flakes off. It's full of sugar. It's nasty. It's everywhere. He's bloody. Anybody ever had a headache? Walked into a doorpost. I was going duck hunting one time. I walked right into this corner of a door at 3 a.m. Well, that was bad. It hurt. I wasn't stoned. You ever hit in the head with a boulder? Anybody ever had a headache? Yeah. No Tylenol. All right. So the disciples are gathering around him. What does Paul do? Stands up. Paul stands up. Just stoned. Everybody watched it happen. Good thing Jesus brought more. What is going to start happening now? What is going to start happening now? So, Jesus stands up. Paul stands up. Everybody's looking at him. He says, I'm not done. Are you done? You might be tired. You might be bloodied. You might be beaten. But it ain't over. Paul stands up. And he went back into the city. Where are you? Where are you? He stands up and he goes back to the city. The next day, he and Barnabas left for Derby or wherever. Keep going. We'll see. They preached the gospel in that city and won a large number of disciples. More lives are being changed. This dude is probably welted up. And he's like, I'm not stopping, right? Then they returned to Lystra, Iconium, and Antioch, strengthening the disciples, encouraged them to remain true to their faith. We must go through many hardships. We got to go through trials of many kinds, brothers and sisters. It's not over, but we're going to have to go through them. You can be like those people across the street and chill. They're watching football. They're barbecuing. I promise you, they have a good life. But that's as good as it'll ever be. That's it. That's it. Nobody's mad at you. Nothing big happens in your life. You work, you retire, you die. These guys went through, what did he tell them? He said, we must go through many hardships. That was their lead. That was Paul. That's like Tim telling you, guys, it ain't going to get easier. Let's go. Right? Paul and Barnabas. So then, they appointed some elders. You been any place recently where we appointed some people? They appointed some elders. They started to grow. For each church, and with prayer and with fasting, committed to them in the Lord, for whom they had put their what, Cindy? For whom they had put their trust. Okay. We're going to see a narrative shift this week. We have this jar of emotions. We're not done. We're not done. We are just getting started. And whenever you start to do the right things, and when you start to love people, man, my jar is getting crazy here. Y'all just stay with me. Y'all just stay with me. Things are getting a little nuts. When we start to put in the good, what do you think that looks like now? Yeah, you're right. It's getting a little green, so I'm not going to take it out. It's starting to get pure. It's starting to get pure because you're starting to do the right things. And you went to church this one time, and you know what? Maybe you felt a little better. Maybe things were slightly better this week. And then you come again, and then you grab a Bible, and then you're like, you know what? I'm going to call somebody, and they're going to pray with me. And all of a sudden, you start to pour in more and more and more and more and more. Next thing you know, your cup is full. Next thing you know, you're healed. Next thing you know, you're starting to help other people get there. Because you can. Do not let the incidents of this week make you afraid to go out and smile, to love people, to help people, to pull over the side of the road and fix a tire. Don't let anything stop you. Paul said, you know what? We're going back in. They went right back into the city, and they kept getting after it. And they kept loving people, and they kept sharing their faith. Maybe you're at a spot in your life where you're Judges 16. Sorry, my shirt's getting all untucked. We're just going to do battle. You're in Judges 16. And Samson says, God, just give me one more chance. Renew my strength one more time. It's not up there. But I'm telling you, it happened in Judges. And God gave Samson the strength to stand up one more time. And I tell you, if Samson wouldn't have died in that moment, he would have said, give me the strength again. Give me the strength again. Give me the strength again. And that's you. Because we all have weaknesses and we all fall. But it all starts with forgiveness. It starts with you accepting that you can't make it on your own and that you need a Savior. Whenever you get to that point, then you can start to heal and you can start to forgive others. Because it doesn't cost you anything to forgive somebody. It doesn't cost you anything to let it go. It doesn't cost you anything for any of that. Natalia, if you'll come up here and play, please. We're going to finish out our service. If you're at a spot in your life where you just need to pray, it's for you. This is called an altar. And we would love for you guys to come up and pray. If you're at a spot in your life, you're like, I need to let some stuff go and I need to put some more of that clean water in. Because I'm just tired of being dark. I'm just tired of feeling angry. I'm tired of feeling lost. I'm tired of feeling hopeless. This is for you. Because nobody can get you there but you and Christ. That's it. This is between you and you. Okay? So, Cindy?